A very good morning, dear children. Today we will be learning chapter 7, Energy Flow in an Ecosystem. This chapter is divided into 4: food chains, food web, ecological pyramid and biogeochemical cycles. In that we have carbon cycle, oxygen cycle and nitrogen cycle. But today we will be learning food chains, food web and ecological pyramid. But before we go into the chapter and learn further about all this, it's very important we learn or do a quick revision of what we have learned in our 8th standard. We have learnt about ecosystem and its types. We know that the world around us is made up of living and non-living factors. Living are called biotic factors, whereas non-living are called abiotic factors. And we know that there is continuous interaction that takes place between this living and non-living factors. This interaction between the living and the non-living is called as ecosystem. So how will you define this? A biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment is called as an ecosystem. Depending upon the types, we have two types of ecosystems: terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. And what are the components of these ecosystems? This is a picture which you are very familiar with, because this is the picture that is being taken from your 8th standard last chapter. Ecosystem is divided into abiotic factors and biotic factors. Abiotic factors are physical and chemical. Physical is air, water vapor, minerals, soil and sunlight. Chemical is divided into two: inorganic substances and organic substances. Organic substances are those which have carbon and hydrogen in them, that is, they are hydrocarbons, whereas inorganic substances are those which lack them. So this is what we have already studied. However, in this chapter what we are going to concentrate more upon is the biotic factors. Biotic factors, as I already told you, are living organisms. So let's just look at that part of the chart. Living organisms are divided into two: autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic is further divided into producers, and the examples are plants. Heterotrophic, however, is divided into two: consumers and decomposers. These consumers are divided into 4 levels. We are going to look at each part or each term in detail. First, we will start with autotrophic. Autotrophic. This is a word which is derived from Greek, and you can divide the word into two: auto and trophic. Auto means self and troph or trophic means to feed. These are those organisms which have the capability to feed themselves without being dependent on anything else. So these are called as producers because they produce their own food. So plants become the major examples of this autotrophs because plants contain organelles called as chloroplast, because of which photosynthesis takes place and they make their own food. So plants are producers and plants are autotrophs. So as it's written below, autotrophic nutrition is a process where the organism prepares their own food from the simple inorganic material like water, mineral salts and carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight. So we have completed with the left part of the chart. I told you living organism is divided into two: autotrophic and heterotrophic. We looked at what is the meaning of autotrophic, and I told you why they are called producers, and we also saw that plants are the major examples under autotrophic. Now we are going to look at the next part of it. What exactly is heterotrophic? Heterotrophic again has its origin from Greek, where the word can be divided into two: hetero and trophic. Here the word hetero means other, and troph means feed. So these are those organisms which feed upon other living organisms. That is why the word other is very important. So all these are called as consumers. Consumers come from the word consume. Consume means to eat or to use up. So they are using up the energy from other organisms. So the organisms that get their energy from eating other organisms are called consumers, or they are called heterotrophs. These heterotrophic consumers are divided into four: primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Let's look at primary consumers. Primary consumers are those insects or those animals which feed directly on the producers or which eat only plants. There can be examples like grasshopper, insects, squirrels and rabbits. These are those animals or insects which take their nutrition only from plants. So we can say producers are consumed by primary consumers. These primary consumers are also called as herbivores. Herbivores, as we know, are those animals which feed only upon plants. Secondary consumers. Secondary consumers are those animals which feed up or which consume the primary consumers. Here we have the examples of frog, owl, fox, etc. These consumers, they use herbivores as their food. This may include frog as well as birds. So we can say the producer is consumed by primary consumer, which was herbivorous. The primary consumer is consumed by secondary consumer, which is a carnivorous animal. Tertiary consumers. These are those consumers which consume secondary consumers. That means those animals which feed upon frog, owl, fox, bird, etc. will be called as tertiary consumer. So we can say producer is consumed by primary consumer, which was a herbivorous. Primary consumer is consumed by secondary consumer, which was a carnivorous. Secondary consumer is consumed by tertiary consumer, which again is a carnivorous animal. Quaternary consumers. Quaternary consumers are those which feed on tertiary consumers. We know that hawk feeds on the snake. So we can write producer is eaten up by primary consumer, which is a herbivorous. Primary consumer is eaten up by secondary consumer, which is a carnivorous. Secondary consumer is eaten up by tertiary consumer, which again is carnivorous. Tertiary consumer is eaten up by quaternary consumer, which again is carnivorous. We have another type of consumer. These are mixed consumers. Mixed consumers are those which feed upon plants as well as animals. We know that bear is an animal which feeds upon other animals, but it also feeds upon plants. Similarly, humans feed upon plants as well as animals. Such are called as omnivorous or mixed consumers. So let's just brief what we just now did. We have various levels of consumers. Primary consumer, the type is herbivorous. All herbivorous animals are primary consumers. All carnivorous animals may be secondary consumer, tertiary consumer and quaternary consumer. and omnivorous are mixed consumers. So, we looked at how living organism is divided into autotrophic and heterotrophic. We learnt what are producers and examples of plant. We also learnt consumers being divided into primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary and also mixed consumers. Now coming to the right hand side. Heterotrophs are also divided into decomposers. Decomposers are those living organisms which get their energy and nutrition from the dead and decaying matter of plant and animal. These are called as decomposers. Food chain. Interactions go on continuously between producers, consumers and decomposers. And there is a definite sequence in these interactions. This sequence of interaction is called as a food chain. Each chain consists of 3, 4, 5 or more than 5 links. Every level in the food chain is called as a trophic level. Let's look at example. You must have seen this picture quite often. Now, one by one we will discuss every level. Here we start with grass. Grass makes its own food. It's not dependent on anybody, and that is why it is called as a producer and is an autotroph. This forms the first trophic level. The grass is absorbing the energy from the sun, conducting photosynthesis and making its own food. This grass is eaten up by the grasshopper. The grasshopper, being at the second level, is called as the primary consumer or is also a herbivorous. The grasshopper is fed by the frog. The frog is at the third trophic level, is the secondary consumer and is a carnivorous. This frog is eaten up by the snake. The snake is at the fourth trophic level. It is a tertiary consumer and is a carnivorous. The snake is eaten up by the hawk. The hawk is at the fifth trophic level. It is a final consumer, quaternary consumer or apex consumer. It is a carnivorous. The hawk after its death is going to be consumed by the decomposer. The decomposer converts the organic matter in the hawk into inorganic substances. The inorganic substances will later be absorbed by the producer or by the grass from the soil or from the atmosphere, and the entire chain continues again. Because the food moves from the grass and again reaches back to the grass, this is called as a chain and it is called as the food chain. If you look at this food chain, we have 5 links: grass, grasshopper, frog, snake, hawk. So we have 5 trophic levels. Grass is at the first trophic level, grasshopper at the second, frog at the third, snake at the fourth, hawk at the fifth. We have grass as a producer, grasshopper is a primary consumer, frog is a secondary consumer, snake is a tertiary consumer, and hawk is a quaternary consumer, final consumer or apex consumer. Here, grass being producer, grasshopper is herbivorous, frog is carnivorous, snake is carnivorous, hawk is also carnivorous. I hope this food chain is clear. We look at other example. Here, grass, rabbit, fox. Grass is making its own food, so it is autotrophic and it is a producer. Grass is eaten up by rabbit. So rabbit is a herbivorous. It is at the second trophic level. It is going to be eaten up by the fox. So fox is at the third trophic level. It is a secondary consumer and it is carnivorous. Here we have three links: grass, rabbit, fox. This is another example. Maize is autotrophic. It makes its own food. It is a producer. This producer is going to be consumed by locust, which is at the first primary consumer. It is going to be consumed by lizard, which is at the second. It's a secondary consumer. Consumed by snake, which is at the third. It's a tertiary consumer. So this has four links: maize, locust, lizard, snake. Now in both the examples that we have taken, even though the food chain is written in the form of a single line, you should understand this is in the form of a circle. That is, when the fox dies, it will be decomposed by the decomposers. The decomposers will convert the organic matter into inorganic substances, and inorganic substances will again be used up by the grass or the plant. So whatever started from the plant is returning to the plant. Similarly, in the second example, we started with maize. Maize to locust, locust to lizard, lizard to snake. Now after the snake, either the snake will be decomposed by decomposers, or you may even have it eaten up by the hawk and then the hawk will be decomposed. But ultimately, after decomposition, whatever inorganic matter was made by the decomposer will be taken up by the plant again. So here, even though it's written in a single line, it is a food chain and it is the form of a cycle. Food web. An ecosystem consists of many food chains which are interconnected. These interconnections which are made is called as a food web. An organism may be eaten up by many other organisms. For example, an insect that is eating the leaf may be eaten up by a frog or by a lizard or by a bird, etc. So if this is shown in a figure, it will form a web-like a structure. This network is called as a food web. You will understand this better when we learn examples. This is an example of a food web. On the left hand side, plants are shown, which means that they are the producers. They are at the first trophic level. Let's start from the grasshopper. The plant or the producer is going to be eaten up by the grasshopper. The grasshopper will be eaten up by the frog. Frog will be eaten up by snake. Snake will be eaten up by vulture. This is the first food chain that we just now saw. But if you look at grasshopper, you will find another arrow moving out. The grasshopper, instead of going or eaten up by the frog, it can directly be eaten up by the vulture. So, plant eaten up by grasshopper and grasshopper directly eaten up by the vulture becomes the second food chain. Similarly, if you look at the rat, plant is eaten up by the rat can be eaten up by the snake can be eaten up by vulture. This becomes my third food chain. Again, plant will be eaten up by rat is eaten up directly by the vulture, so this becomes my fourth food chain. Look at the next example. Plant can be eaten up by bird can be eaten up by vulture. This becomes my fifth food chain. Similarly, plant can be eaten up by rabbit can be eaten up by vulture. So this becomes my sixth food chain. So in this one picture we have 6 food chains which are shown together. Because 6 food chains are shown together, it forms a big network kind of a structure, and such networks where you show many food chains together is called as a food web. Let's take another example. Here, you're going to start with grass. Let's count the number of food chains this web has. Grass is eaten up by grasshopper. Grasshopper is eaten up by lizard. Lizard is eaten up by hawk. This is my first food chain. Second, grass is eaten up by grasshopper. Grasshopper is directly being eaten by the hawk. This is my second food chain. Let's look at the third one. Grass is eaten up by rabbit. Rabbit is eaten up by hawk. That's the third one. Fourth is grass is eaten up by mouse. Mouse can directly be eaten up by hawk. That's the fourth one. Fifth is grass is eaten up by mouse. Mouse is eaten up by snake. Snake is eaten up by hawk. So if you see, in this one single picture we have 5 food chains being shown, and that is why this forms a network kind of a structure which is a food web. Energy pyramid. In the year 1927, Charles Elton had first proposed the concept of ecological pyramid, and because it was discovered by Charles Elton, it is also called as the Eltonian pyramid. We know that sun is the most important source of energy in our ecosystem. The energy from the sun is absorbed by the producers, which are the plants. The energy that it absorbs, part of it is used by it for its daily processes and activities, and the remaining part of the energy is transferred to the herbivores. The herbivores, whatever energy they get, part of it is going to be used by the herbivore for all its activities and processes, and the remaining part of the energy is going to be transferred to carnivores. The carnivores similarly are going to use part of the energy for its own processes and activities, and remaining part of the energy is going to be transferred to the top predator. So, as the energy keeps transferring from one trophic level to another, this is called as the energy pyramid. But if you look at this very carefully, the energy that is received by the producer, as it gets transferred from one trophic level to another, the amount of energy keeps decreasing, with the producers having maximum amount of energy and the top predators or the apex consumers getting the least amount of energy. That is why this is shown in the form of a pyramid, to depict that producers have maximum amount of energy, and therefore it forms the base of the pyramid, and the top predators get the least amount of energy, and that is why they form the tip of the pyramid. Let's look at an example. Here, grass, which is at the first trophic level, absorbs energy from the sun, and if it gets, as an example, it's written 10,000 kilocalories of energy grass has got after it has absorbed it from the sun. This amount of energy does not fully go to the next level. Why? Because part of it is going to be used up by the grass itself for its own processes happening in the plant body. When it is consumed by the grasshopper, very little remaining part of the energy is going to be received by it. So, grasshopper receives 1000 kilocalories of energy from the grass. Now this 1000 kilocal of energy which the grasshopper has got cannot be directly transferred to the frog or to the next level, because half of the energy is going to be used by it for its own processes. So when the frog consumes the grasshopper, it gets just part of the energy, that is 100 kilocals of energy. Same thing repeats again. This 100 kilocal of energy will not be completely transferred to the next level, because the frog requires some energy for its own processes. Therefore, when the snake consumes the frog, it gets only part of it, that is, it gets only 10 kilocals of energy from the frog. Snake does not transfer full 10 kilocal to the hawk or to the next level. It uses some of it for its own processes. So, when the hawk consumes the snake, it gets only part of it, that is just 1 kilocal of energy. So if you look at the energy level as it moves from one trophic level to the next trophic level, the energy keeps decreasing. So if you go for a comparison, grass contains maximum power, maximum energy, and that is why it forms the base of the pyramid. Whereas hawk contains the least amount of energy, therefore it forms the tip of the pyramid. That's the reason why a pyramid or a triangle is being shown to depict this energy transfer. If you observe this carefully, the energy which is being absorbed from the sun moves from the producer to the herbivorous to the carnivorous to the top predator. After the death of the top predator, this energy will move on to the decomposer. The decomposer will convert the organic substances into inorganic substances, and those will again be absorbed by the grass. However, you should note that the energy which was obtained from the sun is not going back to the sun again. And that is why the energy pyramid or the energy flow is a one-way transport system. So the Eltonian pyramid shows that it is a one-way transfer, or the energy flow in an ecosystem does not move back to where it started from. I hope this chapter part 1 is clear. In the next lecture, we will be doing biogeochemical cycle. Thank you.